Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. A couple of days ago, I put out a video reporting that, in all likelihood, the SEC versus Ripple case would be dragging out into 2022, absent a settlement. Now, official court dates for the SEC versus Ripple case have been set. Both sides have agreed to them, and it is official. In fact, the soonest we could see this case end, the soonest, according to attorney John Deaton, would be March of next year. That's right, March of 2023. Unless, of course, there is a settlement, which still is a very real possibility. It's a very, very real possibility. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's not like I like this any more than any of you, but I will say this. I am not going to let the terrible humans at the SEC scare me and intimidate me and shake me out of my XRP and other crypto holdings. Not going to do it. I understand that every crypto I hold is potentially going to get sued into oblivion by the SEC, but I refuse to acquiesce at this stage. The only thing that would cause me to rethink that is if this case goes absolutely horrifically, because if that does, and if XRP can't be traded in the United States, and if it's actually a security, if that's what the United States actually declares it, then I'm getting out of crypto on the whole. I will take, in all likelihood, that's how I feel right now anyway, and that's not an emotional response. I mean, yes, it's frustrating. It can be angering just thinking through it, but I have thought about this for some time, and if that actually I don't think it's going to happen, to be clear, but if the worst case scenario happened, and that would be, I can't risk that much money being in cryptocurrencies, which, although I know aren't actually securities, risking the SEC coming after them, hell no. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to share with you, despite this close to worst case scenario news, it's pretty close, arguably. I'm going to share with you. It's not the end of the world. We still, like, all the facts and circumstances are on the side of XRP holders and Ripple. There still can be a settlement, but I'm going to share with you perspective from a number of people, including Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Alderati. He's their top in-house legal guy. He's been doing the law stuffs for decades at this point. I've got comments from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. I also have perspective from 3 attorneys within the XRP community, including attorney John Deaton, attorney Jeremy Hogan, and attorney James Filan. So plenty to cover here. And this news just broke a couple hours ago. It was it was shared by attorney Filan, member of the XRP community, at 3:39 p.m. Central Standard Time on Twitter. So it's just been a couple hours. News is broke. People have responded. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, here is the official legal filing, and this is what was shared with James Filan. It's 2 pages, but the second page is just signatures. I don't really feel it necessary to read this. What you need to know is what James Filan wrote here, which is as follows. Parties filed joint scheduling letter proposing opening briefs for summary judgment and expert challenges in August and closing briefs a few days before Christmas. So there you go. Closing briefs a few days before Christmas. Maybe if we get lucky, it'll be right on that 2-year anniversary of the asshats at the SEC actually filing their suit against Ripple in the first place. Wouldn't that be fun? Here's what Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Alderati, had to say. And he actually retweeted what attorney Filan shared here. Check this out. He's got some seriously interesting insight and perspective. And you're probably wondering, too, why the heck did Ripple agree to this timeline? Because they did. Well, we're going to get into that as well. But here's what Stuart wrote. To all that have been following the case thus far, thank you. Know that Ripple is pushing hard and the court is working hard to resolve the case as soon as possible, despite the SEC time and again doing everything they can to delay. It now looks like a resolution will come in 2023, and each day that passes is hurting U.S. citizens who were essentially the victims of a rug pull by the SEC. $15 billion in XRP market cap was destroyed the day the suit was filed, hurting the very people the SEC purports to protect. In December 2020, as Clayton and Hinman packed their bags, the SEC didn't seek a court injunction to stop XRP trading in the United States when they filed the suit because they knew they couldn't get one. Effectively, the case has done so anyway. Prime example of regulation by enforcement. And so pause to think about this. This is something we talked about before. Why didn't the SEC file any sort of injunction to stop, Jed McCaleb from selling XRP or to actually shut down the trading? They knew that they didn't have legs to stand on that, but they also knew that out of an abundance of caution, cryptocurrency exchanges throughout the United States, by and large, if not entirely, would shut down the trading of XRP, so they thought they'd effectively get what they wanted anyway. These are terrible people. This is regulation by enforcement, and Stewart's hitting the nail on the head here. Anyway, Stewart continues now. Chair Gensler preaches justice delayed is justice denied. When firms defend themselves from SEC bullying investigations/inquiries, quite the contrast from the SEC using every tactic at their disposal to keep this cloud of uncertainty over the market. Justice delayed indeed. The Biden executive order estimated that 40 million Americans own crypto today. No thanks to the SEC, who insist on saying that all or most tokens are securities and that U.S. exchanges are running unlawful security exchanges. If you ask which ones, no comment, no disclosure. So let me just pause. That's why I was saying towards the beginning part of this video, if this doesn't go well for XRP and XRP holders and doesn't go well for Ripple, I'm probably out. Because what can I reasonably do here? Everything that I own is under attack by the SEC. Like all of it, literally. I don't know what the hell is going to happen at that point. And tens of millions of Americans, I'm sorry, folks, you're all in trouble. All of you in America. I mean, and here I am living in the Midwest in the United States. It would be that bad. Talk about a miscarriage of justice if that happens. Now, again, I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm not saying that to scare anybody, but let's be realists here. If that's what's at stake here. If this goes badly, that is what we're talking about here. I will get the hell out of this. I mean, what could I do? I guess stop running this YouTube channel? Because, make a hard pivot to what? I'm going to talk about unicorns every day? I mean, I guess that could be fun. No, seriously, what the hell would we even do? Would you guys stick around? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, Stewart continues, though. Gensler refuses to offer any specifics whatsoever. And the SEC hasn't sought to shut down any exchange because they know they don't have any real jurisdiction over this $2 trillion industry. In the meantime, though, they'll leverage every tactic to create market confusion. Already, we're seeing a massive transfer of crypto talent, tech, and wealth moving offshore to jurisdictions with rational regulatory frameworks. Entrepreneurs are being advised to not start their projects in the United States. How long can this be allowed to continue? So just pause. Some of you might have caught my video. It was either way earlier today or yesterday. I actually can't recall off the top of my head. But I highlighted something from attorney Jeremy Hogan, and he was asked by this crypto project, we just want to make sure we're in compliance. What do we have to do to make sure we're in complete compliance? As far as especially things with the SEC, and he said, "Sorry, in the United States, this is what he told them. In the United States, you can't be fully compliant because there is no certainty on that. There is no specific guidance from the government on what that even looks like. So if you want certainty, you need to not start your project in the United States." That's literally what he told them. That's terrible that that's the state of things in 2022 in the U.S. And then Stewart wraps up by stating, "And to those asking if this is a joint filing, yes, it is. But based on the SEC's track record, if we didn't agree to this, the next iteration would have very likely been even longer." So there you go. Ripple and the SEC agreed to this, but probably more or less they felt bullied into it. In fact, look at this perspective from attorney John Deaton on this exact topic. He wrote the following. "It's not difficult to read between the lines here. We know from the SEC's recent letter, Ripple was asking for mid-May for initial briefs. Most likely, the SEC informed Ripple if they didn't agree to August, the SEC would ask the judge for December, and Ripple went with certainty." And attorney James Filan, he said effectively the same thing, something very similar. Here's what he wrote on this. "Many people are questioning why Ripple agreed to this schedule. My gut feeling is that there was a trade-off. A longer briefing schedule, but the elimination of the pre-motion Rule 56 practice. If Ripple didn't agree, there would be more scheduling disputes that, in my estimation, would have taken up even more time, and Ripple would have lost that battle if the past is any guide. Then the motion schedule would have gone well into 2023. In my opinion, this was a very smart move by Ripple in locking in this schedule. So folks, think about this. The SEC would have delayed in all likelihood further and further and further. So even though we're talking about finality of this case in March of 2023, it would have been even later if Ripple didn't agree to this, in all likelihood. That's what attorneys Filan and Deaton are stating right here. Then there was this from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Over the past couple of years, I've found myself becoming far more familiar with the SEC than I ever thought possible, which is why it's beyond ironic that one of their goals is to provide disclosure. Guess they don't need to abide by their own rules. The SEC seems perfectly content to let the United States fall further behind, all in the name of protecting their own jurisdiction at the expense of United States citizens. Politics over policy is good for no one. We need a clear regulatory framework now. Amen, Mr. Garlinghouse. Ain't that the truth? And then John's initial response is right here. He wrote, worse than expected. All final briefs due December 20th, 2022. Absent a settlement, end of March 2023 for a decision is now best case. A settlement prior to a ruling comes down to the emails and comments with edits and the 68 drafts of the Hinman speech and whether the SEC will be forced to turn them over. So, folks, I'm still optimistic for settlement being more likely here. Nothing's guaranteed. But given that Judge Netburn has ruled a couple times now that the SEC must turn over the Hinman emails and speech drafts, and given that the SEC is fighting so hard to prevent that, there must be something exculpatory in there. And it is anticipated that Judge Torres, once the SEC appeals to Judge Torres, which is also anticipated, it's not going to go in favor of the SEC. I've never seen John Deaton so sure of just about anything in this case. So assuming that's correct, still way more likely that we see a settlement rather than this whole thing playing out. But if it does, yeah, you're looking at best case scenario March of next year. So I'm still optimistic. I've been talking a little bit about my real world concerns, but I'm not feeling like down in the dumps about this per se. I'm not happy about this. But don't take me wrong. I don't want to be too doomsy and gloomsy. Like, I'm still very optimistic that justice is going to be done here, even if it does take this long. But I'm even more optimistic that settlement's the most probable outcome. And then there was this from John Deaton. He wrote, I see people blaming the judges about the scheduling. Both sides signed this proposed scheduling order. If both sides say they are in agreement, it is extremely rare for a judge to not agree. So there you go. Judges' hands are practically tied, figuratively. And then attorney Jeremy Hogan said this. This schedule is the exact worst case scenario that attorney Filan posted the other day. The Ripple case is going into 2023. I've never seen a plaintiff want to delay a case this much. Only defendants normally delay. Why bring a case and then postpone the justice you seek? In contrast, look at the SEC versus Library case schedule. The lawsuit was filed 3 months after the Ripple lawsuit and will finish 6 months sooner. Everything about the Ripple case is strangely backwards. Weird times we live in, folks, but that's the update. Don't let it ruin your weekend. Definitely don't let it ruin your weekend. I still think things are going to turn out just fine in the end. This is just what we got to go through. But that's why I said I'm not getting shaken out of my crypto positions. We'd have to actually have horrendous ruling for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm officially out. Which is possible. And that would be so disappointing. But we're not there. And I just firmly believe at this point justice will be done. So stay positive, folks. I'll wrap up here, though. Please let me know what you think below. I'd love to see some conversation on this and get additional opinions from the community. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.